Imagine driving alone on a desert road at night, and a figure starts running next to your car on all fours. Locals say it's no animal, it's a skinwalker. These aren't just campfire stories. For generations, the Navajo have spoken about beings that can transform, mimic voices, and hunt humans. Tonight, we're diving deep into the terrifying truth behind skinwalkers. Skinwalkers come from Navajo dine tradition, known as Inaldlishii, meaning with it, he goes on all fours. They are believed to be witches who practice dark magic, gaining the ability to shape-shift into animals, wolves, coyotes, owls, etc. These powers are often obtained through rituals involving grave desecration or murder, symbolizing ultimate corruption. Skinwalker Ranch, Utah, the most infamous hotspot for sightings. Reports of UFOs, mutilated cattle, strange humanoids. Navajo Nation stories. Locals report creatures mimicking voices, scratching on windows, and appearing in human-like shapes. Recent TikTok and Reddit stories. Drivers in Arizona and New Mexico claim to see running human animals near highways. One ranch worker described a creature with the face of a man and the body of a coyote. When he shot at it, it vanished, leaving only deep claw marks in the dirt. This is crucial. You're dealing with sacred Navajo beliefs. Handle it respectfully. Clarify that these stories are not entertainment to many indigenous people, but real warnings. Avoid using native rituals or words inaccurately. You can mention, out of respect, many Navajo won't even say the creature's true name aloud. It's believed to attract its attention. The desert at night is unlike anywhere else. It's vast, quiet, and endless. You can drive for miles without seeing another pair of headlights. Just your car and the wind. The moonlight hits the red sand, and every cactus shadow looks alive. It's beautiful and deeply unsettling. Because out here, stories are whispered. Stories of something that runs faster than any man, that can sound exactly like your friend calling your name, even when you know you're alone. They call it Inaldlishii. To the Navajo, that means with it, he goes on all fours. To the rest of the world, it's known as the Skinwalker. This isn't your typical monster story. To many indigenous people of the American Southwest, skinwalkers are not a myth, not a campfire tale, they're real. And the closer you get to their land, the more you hear about them. Creatures that walk like humans, mimic voices, and appear at the edge of the light when night falls. In Navajo tradition, there are healers called medicine men or singers. They use their knowledge of herbs, songs, and rituals to bring balance and healing. But as with all power, there's a darker side. Among the Dine, the Navajo people, there's a belief that some healers turn to witchcraft. These individuals use their sacred knowledge not to heal, but to harm. A skinwalker is said to be the most dangerous kind of witch, one who practices a forbidden form of magic. To become one, the person must commit an act so evil that it severs them from humanity forever. The most common story says they must kill a family member, often a sibling or parent, to gain their power. Once initiated, the skinwalker gains the ability to transform into animals, wolves, coyotes, bears, owls, whatever suits their need. They wear the animal skin to take on its form. That's where the English name skinwalker comes from. But this power isn't limited to shape-shifting. Skinwalkers are believed to mimic voices perfectly. They can call out your name in the voice of someone you love, luring you outside. They can move at unnatural speed, leap impossible distances, and sometimes even appear half-human, half-beast, a grotesque blend of both worlds. Elders warn that speaking of them openly can attract their attention. Even among Navajo communities today, people avoid saying their true name. To them, the skinwalker isn't a story, it's a presence. No discussion of skinwalkers is complete without mentioning one of America's most mysterious places, Skinwalker Ranch. Located in northeastern Utah, the ranch covers roughly 500 acres. In the mid-1990s, it gained worldwide attention when a ranching family, the Shermans, purchased the property and began reporting strange, terrifying activity. It started small, doors banging open by themselves, animals acting nervous, unmarked footprints appearing in the dirt. But soon, things escalated. The Shermans described seeing enormous wolves, far larger than any natural wolf, stalking their cattle. One day, one of these creatures attacked a calf. The father shot it multiple times at close range. The animal didn't even flinch. When it finally retreated, the tracks it left in the mud simply stopped. Over time, the family reported glowing orbs in the sky, invisible forces tearing through their property, and disembodied voices echoing across the fields at night. Eventually, the ranch was sold to billionaire Robert Bigelow, who funded a full-scale scientific investigation through the National Institute for Discovery Science, NIDS. His team, made up of scientists, engineers, and ex-military personnel, spent years studying the ranch. They claimed to witness unexplained lights, radiation spikes, and strange creatures that appeared and vanished without a trace. Some say the ranch is cursed by skinwalkers. Others believe it's a hot spot for interdimensional phenomena, a tear in reality itself. Whatever it is, the land has remained under tight security ever since, with new owners continuing research under secrecy. To this day, locals still see strange lights in the Utah sky and hear the howls of something that's not quite animal echoing in the night. Of all Skinwalker stories, the most terrifying are the ones that feel personal. In 2001, a Navajo police officer, who asked not to be named, reported a series of encounters on patrol near the Arizona border. He was called to investigate strange noises outside a family's home. They claimed to hear footsteps around their property every night and voices whispering just beyond the window. When the officer arrived, he saw nothing unusual at first. Then he heard a voice, a young girl's voice, calling from the dark, "Help me, please." He followed the sound with his flashlight. It led him behind a shed, then suddenly went silent. When he turned around, something was standing between him and his car, tall, pale, and hunched over. He described it as a human figure with animal joints. When he pointed his weapon, it dropped to all fours and ran, faster than anything he'd ever seen. The next day, the family found large animal prints around their windows, prints that changed shape halfway through from human feet to clawed paws. The officer quit 2 weeks later. He never spoke about it again. In communities across Arizona and New Mexico, stories about how to protect yourself from skinwalkers still circulate. They say you should never whistle at night, especially in the desert. The sound calls them. You should never respond if you hear your name being called after dark, especially if it sounds like someone you know. And if you see a coyote or dog standing upright, staring at you from a distance, you should turn and leave immediately. Traditional Navajo beliefs say that skinwalkers can be defeated, but only through very specific rituals, often led by a singer or medicine man who performs purification ceremonies. Silver bullets, burning herbs, and sacred chants are all said to help drive them away. But outsiders are warned. These rituals are not to be copied or commercialized. They are sacred, meant only for those who understand their true meaning. To this day, Navajo elders still perform ceremonies to restore balance when skinwalker activity is suspected. For them, the legend is a matter of spiritual protection, not entertainment. In 2018, a young couple driving through New Mexico late at night reported one of the most chilling encounters ever shared online. They were on Highway 491, a stretch of road nicknamed the Devil's Highway. Around midnight, the driver noticed something running alongside the car. At first, he thought it was a deer. Then it stood upright. The creature was tall, thin, and almost human, but its limbs bent backward like an animal's. Its eyes reflected the headlights in a glowing orange hue. It kept pace with their car for nearly a minute before dropping to all fours and vanishing into the brush. They didn't stop until they reached town. When they checked the car in daylight, they found deep scratches across the side panel, 5 long marks like claws. Locals told them they were lucky. Some who encounter the skinwalker never make it back to tell the story. Over the years, dozens of similar reports have surfaced online. Hikers hearing their names whispered in empty canyons, campers waking to find footprints around their tents, and travelers spotting figures that run faster than any animal should. Whether these are the result of fear, imagination, or something truly unexplainable, one thing's for sure: the desert holds its secrets tightly. Skeptics argue that Skinwalker stories can be explained by psychology and environment. The desert's isolation, harsh conditions, and eerie silence can heighten paranoia. Combine that with the power of suggestion, hearing old legends, seeing shadows move, and your brain starts filling in the blanks. There's also the possibility of misidentified wildlife. Coyotes infected with mange can look terrifyingly unnatural, hairless, sickly, and aggressive. Their distorted shapes might easily be mistaken for something supernatural, especially under moonlight. Yet, the consistency of the stories across generations, told by people who've never met, raises questions. How do so many describe the same kind of creature, the same speed, mimicry, and intelligence, if it's all coincidence? Some researchers suggest that Skinwalker stories may represent a kind of psychological archetype, a warning about what happens when a person abandons their humanity and harmony with nature. A moral story that, over time, took on a life of its own. But for those who've seen the glowing eyes, the moving shadows, or the claw marks that appear overnight, no explanation feels sufficient. Today, the Skinwalker remains one of the most enduring and feared figures in American folklore. Pop culture has turned it into a viral sensation. Movies, creepypastas, even TikToks of alleged encounters. But beneath the trend lies a deeper truth. For the Navajo, these stories are not meant to entertain. They're a reminder, a boundary between good and evil, balance and corruption. Some Navajo elders worry that outsiders spreading Skinwalker stories for clicks disrespect their traditions. To them, this isn't horror fiction, it's sacred knowledge twisted into spectacle. And they warn that sharing too much or saying the name carelessly may invite the very thing people claim not to believe in. So when the desert wind howls and your campfire flickers, remember this. The stories exist for a reason. Maybe to teach, maybe to protect, or maybe to remind us that even in the modern world, there are things older, darker, and far beyond our understanding. So if you ever find yourself on a lonely desert road at night, and something runs beside your car, don't look. Don't stop. And whatever you do, don't answer when it calls your name.